that shit on the headlight.
Welcome to FINS TV. I'm your host, Sammy, aka Exposed on X. As always, my co-host Steve Hallett. Steve, welcome to the show.
Sammy, happy Tuesday. How you doing today?
Oh, doing better. After it was a rough weekend, a rough early Sunday morning. The whole day was rough after that Chiefs game, but doing better today.
I don't know what's worse, waiting until a Sunday night game or Monday night game or getting it out of the way early, but I do know either way, losing is bad, and when you do it early in the day on a Sunday, it's I don't like to think that my life revolves around Dolphins games outcomes, but the rest of my Sunday was rough after that outcome. Wasn't
Yeah.
too pleasant of a Sunday after that, but I just had to, like you said, what are we calling this? Shake it off here. I think that's what I had to do throughout the rest of the day.
Let's see if we can shake it off.
We'll have to see if we can.
We'll try for that.
It's a couple days later. I think we're a little bit better today than we were Sunday.
Absolutely. So talking about that on this episode, shake it off. Well, some are taking already the Dolphins for granted. They say they're dead. The sky is falling on the Dolphins. We're going to talk definitely about that. Also on this episode, we're going to talk about some overreactions. Can Mike McDaniel lead this team to a win on a big game over, playoff contender? And also, we're going to talk a little bit back about the season that it has been. It's a bye week, so we're going to look back and a little bit forward to the season. Well, had a lot to talk about. It was a interesting game, to say the least. So let's see if the connection helps. And we're going to start with the Dolphins lost to the Kansas City Chiefs.
First snap of the game is a Mahomes pass. Over the middle. That's Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Mahomes quick throw. That's Rashee Rice. Touchdown. Tyreek Hill has it, and he flips it. 2-1. Oh, he's looking spry here. First down, a little. Tua. Quick throw over the middle. There's Hill. Next to Tua. And he's got it. Oh, that was sniffed out nicely. Actually, Mahomes with the edges rushing around him. Finds McKinnon. Jarek McKinnon. Touchdown. Junction and get back in it fast. And there's Waddle. And Tua turns. Has it. Over the middle to Tyreek Hill. Makes a move. And Tyreek. Tua. Out to Hill. That goes nowhere. Ball's loose. It is loose and picked up and lateral. Brian Cook. Touchdown. Tua fakes his way and has Hill for a first down. Tua for the end zone and Wilson. A touchdown. Mahomes steps up. Ball's loose. Ball is loose. And the Dolphins are on it. Flag is down very late.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Defense, number 95.
It's a flip. Mostert with the crease. Touchdown. Fades back. Steps up. Looking for Valdez-Scantling. In and out. It's another run for Mostert. Up the middle. Mostert. Huge play. Tua. Throws it. Hill. Goes back. And gets the yards. That's Waddle. Open. Tua throws over the middle to Tyreek Hill. First down. Tua. Incomplete. He's going to throw it. He's trying to find some time, and he's got to throw it away. Top drive is a handoff to Mostert. Mostert still on his feet, and he gets it past midfield. Where the Dolphins find themselves right now. Mostert on the carry. Mostert is free again. Oh, Tua flips this one up. Incomplete. 4th and 10. Let's try it again. 63 ticks to go. Tua fumbles it. And that's the way the game ends. On a wayward snap.
Yeah, so many wasted opportunities. It was definitely the biggest game of the season until the next one. Really frustrating. That last sequence of the game was still rough to watch. Monster running for almost 50 yards to the outside behind Armstrong, and they abandoned the run on the first game. But Steve, I want to start with you. I want to know your thoughts about the game.
First of all, I've purposefully not watched any of the clips from the game, and seeing that for the first time afterward, it pains me to see a couple of those plays and see what could have been, what should have been. Almost unexplainable, and I don't even say inexcusable. It's just unexplainable because it's not what we know to expect from Tua. It's not what we would expect to see, what we've really kind of come to see most of the first half of the season here with McDaniel calling plays. Just some of it really, really hurts. But I think we all had hopes that McDaniel's foresight to travel to Germany early was going to help out. It almost seems like the team was they weren't even, the Chiefs seemed more awake, even though they'd been in Germany for 2.5, 3 days fewer than Miami. I don't know how the jet lag stuff works out, but I just had really hoped that they were going to come out of the chute a little bit faster. I like quoting things from the past or some little tidbits, but one of my favorite movies is older movies would be Maverick, and it's the one with Mel Gibson and Jodie Foster. But one of my favorite scenes in that is when he sits back for like an entire first, I don't even know how many hours of poker game, and he says he's not going to win he promises he's not going to win a single hand. And then he proceeds to go on and clean out the rest of everything. And I almost feel like Vic Fangio is like Maverick in that, where he likes to go out and just, for the first couple series of these games, let offenses go down the field. I know it's really not what he's doing, but maybe he's trying to figure out what's the offense doing? How are they doing things here? I'm not a fan of spotting anybody, any team. It doesn't matter if it's the Broncos, the Chiefs, the Eagles, anybody. I'm not a fan of spotting any team points, but it's just one of those curious things. I don't know why that was the case, but as soon as they got those 14 points, they shut it down. They totally did. And this is the third time playing a big opponent on the road. We've been on this show talking about a loss. Losing sucks. I'm not going to play the moral victory game here because really, we had that game. We gave 14 points up to the defending Super Bowl champs in, frankly, what was a home team environment. It wasn't playing at Arrowhead Stadium, because Arrowhead Stadium would have been exponentially louder, much more of a charged environment, would have been colder, open air. But we gave up 14 points on the defense, and the extra 7 points came, courtesy of Tyreek Hill on a horrible play call at that moment, but just a fluke fumble, and they had the wherewithal to lateral it backwards to somebody that absolutely took off and couldn't be caught. So we'll talk more about this stuff and get into different pieces and different players of the game, but seeing the missed opportunities that happen there, it just really hurts to walk away from a game that, again, we really should have won.
Again, so many missed opportunities. Tua actually said that the jet lag, they fed the jet lag once they got to Germany, and they say it benefited the team to travel early in that sense. But when you see the Chiefs, it was a business trip for them. They know how to win. They know what to do. It was. This is why we're going to talk about that more later when they say that the Dolphins, they're pretenders. We've been the Buffalo Super Bowl, the Eagles Super Bowl, and the Chiefs Super Bowl. They've been hyped for facing the Dolphins more than any other team. So it is what it is. But the Dolphins still it's frustrating how many opportunities they left on the floor. Uh,
Yeah, I think it was 2 weeks ago that we were talking, and I think it was Joy Taylor that had said in one of the clips that the the really good teams make it difficult on other good teams to beat. In Buffalo, we didn't do that. Philly, we were tied up 17 all at some point, but finally we got to the point at a game here where we made it tough for who is, in my opinion, the elite team in the NFL to beat. That wasn't a cakewalk for the Chiefs.
no,
So we're getting there. But again, we'll talk more as the show progresses here. But it's again, it's not a moral victory for me. Still hurts even more after just coming off of seeing that clip that you shared. But the sky is not falling. So
no, most definitely. And you look at the stats, and I don't want to bother anyone with a lot of stats, but when you look at the yards per carry, total possession, even total possession, 10 the Dolphins, I think it went ahead. Total yardage, more first downs. The Dolphins ended up controlling the game. Who would have thought that that's horrendous first half that the Dolphins would be with a chance to win the game ahead in the stats, but they're, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago that I said that the Dolphins are not a finished product. They're not. They might be a finished product on the players on the roster, but they're still learning to win the big game. There have been a lot of teams. The Cowboys. I'm sorry. The 49ers had to find a way to beat the the Cowboys in the 90s. The Packers could not beat the Cowboys. Peyton Manning could not beat the big one for forever, and Steve Young couldn't. So uh, it would be like it's great when you have Joe Burrow that takes the league by storm. In second year, he goes to the Super Bowl, but that usually doesn't happen, and you know we're still working on that. So with that being said, we're gonna welcome our esteemed panelists, the FINS TV crew of Eddie Chaput and Matt Armstrong. Good evening, guys.
Good evening.
I
Hey
want to
guys.
start by saying to three of you, salute to Service Month on the NFL. Yeah, you both guys serve on the military, the greatest force in the world, the United States military. I want to say your service. Hey, to your dad, thank you for the service also.
Thank you.
I guess, Matt, you saw the highlights of the game. Truly frustrating game. We talked pre-show a little bit about your thoughts. I know you had a lot to say, great points to say. So I want to allow you to speak your mind, your thoughts about the game last Sunday.
One thing is for certain. I'm gonna seriously reconsider the Dolphins by 30 text that I send out every week. I really felt bad on Sunday. I think Eddie called me out on that. But in all seriousness, if I predicted on Saturday that the final score would be 21-14, anybody within earshot would have thought that I was drunk or just crazy. And I want you to think about that for a second. 21-14 was the final score. One of those touchdowns was a fumble or maybe a fumble return. I'm not so certain that it was really a fumble of any kind, but the final score was 21-14. And anybody that was listening to me, if I had done that, would have said, there's no way the Chiefs are only scoring 21 points. The assumption would have been, because remember, we talked about this last week, that the Dolphins were picked to be last place in the AFC East by many, many people. So if that prediction had been made, most people would have been like, you're out of your mind. The Chiefs are not scoring 21 points. Add two more touchdowns to it. I'll give you 35-20 would have been probably a more realistic term. The reality is that the Miami Dolphins went toe-to-toe halftime to the fourth quarter with the defending Super Bowl champs, and they were in it. They were there all the way to that unfortunate fourth down play. I am with Steve when he says the sky is not falling. I don't think that there is any such thing as a moral victory, but doggone it, the Miami Dolphins were in it. You can say whatever you want. They held the defending Super Bowl champs in a de facto home field advantage. Steve, I got to correct you, man. It was 53 in Frankfurt on Sunday. It's 69 in Kansas City right now. That was absolutely a Chiefs home game. The Dolphins went to Europe and they nearly pulled it off. I'm okay.
How about you, Eddie? What are your thoughts about the game? I know you had a lot of frustration during the game there afterwards. Bend it up, my brother. Now's the time.
I'm much better today, but man, I could have wrote a novel bugging you guys like I did the other day. But I don't know. The defense started out. They let them go down the field and score. To the point where when we play Buffalo, Kansas City, anybody with a really good offense, we need to take the ball first and try to put the other team down, because we keep falling behind 7-0 every time we give it to a good offense. Other than that, we stopped them on the next 3 possessions, and we could have scored some kind of points on one of them possessions, at least to put a little pressure on them. The offense took a long time to get started. Play calling was kind of all over the place, but they fought hard. They didn't quit. It was 21-0 at halftime. I had no idea what to expect after halftime. I really didn't. I didn't know if it was going to be 42-3 or the Buffalo game again. But they came out, they fought their butt off, and were in it until the end, where they could have tied it. They didn't. They fell short, but I'm definitely not in a bad place as I was the other day.
You're gonna say you're gonna say I'm bluffing, but I swear I told I said that we're gonna tie this game. When we were down 21-0, my expectation was to tie the game, not necessarily to win it, because we like, wow, we need to tie it again and then we'd have to go ahead in that. But my expectation was that we were gonna tie the game. But it's a problem. We're falling behind on games. We fall 14-0 to the Panthers. I think we trailed the Giants, and we fell way behind to the Bills, and we had no chance, and we fell behind to the Eagles. It's a problem. The low start of the Dolphins is truly a problem, and there needs to be corrections done. If they don't do something about that, I don't know if the offense is too complicated and they need a lot of time to settle down. I don't know what to say. Steve, what do you think?
I'm not sure. There's a whole segment. There are multiple segments that we could run on what we think the issues are.
Mm-hmm.
And they're persistent issues. It's not one off. I don't like to say the one snap that Tua fumbled there is indicative of a problem that he has, because it doesn't happen too often. But there are consistent issues that they have. But I do know that when the bell tolled at the halfway point of the regular season at halftime, us being down 21-0, I did have nightmares of the 49ers game where we scored that first touchdown pass, and we thought from that point forward it's fantastic.
Super
And
Bowl.
that was the beginning of a rough patch, back-to-back losses on the West Coast, and just a lot of questions that we couldn't answer. But again, I can't emphasize enough how impressive it was that the defense showed up the way that they did. They found a way to absolutely eliminate Travis Kelce from the game. And
Yeah.
we gave up some chunk plays throughout the game. Nothing as much through the air. I think that's a great sign of what it can look like with a healthy Jalen Ramsey and a healthy Xavier Howard back there, and Kohu in the slot. Absolutely love the impact having Javon Holland back there. And I think all of us are surprised by what David Long Jr. is putting up there. So that's really positive. But we didn't turn it into a game like we saw against the 49ers, and I definitely think that there's some positives. I just seriously have some questions about what I hate the what could have been type game. And I know I said this earlier. It's just that one pass to Cedric Wilson. They say it was a miscommunication. It just looks like the ball came out, and Tua didn't step into it the way that we know that he can step into a ball. Don't tell me he doesn't have zip, because on one of those pass plays, you showed it on the clip there. He gunned it into Tyreek across the middle of the field. At the live view, I thought it was intercepted. That was a laser. It was a frozen rope that he hit that on. He can do it. He just didn't step into it. It looked like Sam Howell throwing the ball the way he steps back on his back foot and lobs it. I just didn't know what the heck was going on. Take it. You know what I said, Matt. It was a weak throw. And then the snap. And it's so easy to blame Tua for this. Should he catch it? Yes. I saw somebody post up a video today of a bad snap to Mahomes, and he fielded it one hand and everything. You look at the all 22 angle from behind the defense and see A, the placement of that snap, but B, more importantly, the speed at which Connor Williams snapped that ball. It was like he was Blake Ferguson snapping to a punter, and he just absolutely ripped it fast. And I know what was going on. Everybody was high stress. He knew a blitz, an all-out blitz was coming. He wanted to get it out, and when he got the ball up, he actually did a good block. The right guard, not so much. And that's one of those what-if games. If Tua does field that snap, he's still got somebody blitzing, but at least would have given us an opportunity to see what if. Can he just buy a half second of time to lob it up to Waddle, and Waddle scores? But that's the what if game that we really can't play too much. But I think we all had hopes to be able to leave this in the lead of the conference and know that we could do it. But again, we're at a bye week right now. Get an opportunity to be healthy. Figure something out about that offensive line. Because when we're facing a really tough defense, that's when the warts on the offensive line really start to show, because those teams like the Chiefs with that defense and the Eagles, they can bring it, and they did. It really rattles our offense.
Yeah, I was say I'm kind of disappointed mostly on Tyreek. Like the expectation did not reach the conclusion. He he was holding himself to try not to be too high, but still that was his game. He had the fumble. Well, to me, still wasn't a fumble either. If the definition of stopping the forward progress is what it is. He's going backwards, so either it's incomplete or it's not a fumble. I still don't get it. How it still was fumbled. There's no way about that. But still, Tyreek had a lot of plays he could have made it, that he left on the field that he could have done. So, Matt, any last thought about the Chiefs game?
No, they took the defending Super Bowl champs down to the final play of the game, basically. I'm good with that. I'm glad that we've got a bye week. Sammy, you and I were talking about how in years past, you prayed that you could get to a bye week, and inevitably the season kind of fell by the wayside. This season, we have the fortune of getting so many players back. How exciting. Listen, you said something a moment ago. Steve said something about it wasn't very many chunk plays through the air, Kelsey getting erased essentially. They held the Chiefs to their lowest offensive yardage output this year, and it was under 300 yards. Patrick Mahomes was the quarterback of under 300 yards. Yeah, the future looks bright to me.
Yeah, Eddie, any last thoughts?
Yeah, he was actually under 200 yards. I think he had 170. Something. He had less than 200. Yeah, something like that. And most of the yardage for the Chiefs came in 2 drives, and that was it. That's the defense. You cannot complain about the defense. I still see people complaining about it, but whatever. Chubb has turned into an absolute beast. Me complaining about him last year in the beginning of this year, well, I'll just punch me in the head for that one, because he is amazing. But they, like I said, they got it down to the end. I'm with Steve. That was a fastball that came. At first, I thought it was all Tua, But then I watched that. That was a fastball from Williams, and I understand that he's making line calls, Williams, and he's setting the offensive line on who to pick up. And so is Tua is trying to read the field. So it's just a play that happened. He had 3 one-on-one matchups. If they get the snap off, who knows what happens. Hope if they would have scored, I was already yelling at my dad. I said they need to go for 2. To hell with going to overtime. But other than that, they played.
I thought about it.
I was like, just go for 2. But that was it. Came inside from off the ledge on Sunday at 9:30, which I hate them games, and they did well, and they're 6-3 at the bye. And like I said, if you would have told me they would be 6-3 at the bye, I'd have been happy. And in first in the AFC East.
You came off the ledge a lot faster than I thought you were going to, Eddie.
Yeah,
I'll
I
admit.
came off faster than you, Steve.
Yeah, I was actually. I'm still like looking at it, being like, I don't know. I'm not
never
sure.
that fast off. I don't know what happened to me.
I know. See, it's that Sunday morning game, man. Just keep them Sunday morning for you. But
Yeah,
no, and to your point about Chubb, you're right. And a wise man once said, "Show me a top defensive line, and I'll show you." What is it, Matt?
Show me a strong defensive front, and I will show you an all-pro defensive backfield.
There it is, my man.
Absolutely. 3 things. It's frustrating that we might have to live forever with that 4th down play, and what would have happened if that snap would have been wide. That's number 1. Number 2 is that the Chiefs are for real. The defending champions. They don't get enough respect. They have probably not. They have the best quarterback in the world in Patrick Mahomes. They might have the best coach in the game, Andy Reid, and they have one of the best defense in the NFL. When you have those 3 things, they're for real. They deserve the respect. We went toe to toe to them, and we could have beat them. That's the truth. And the last thing is, as you can see the subtitle, we're not finished. We haven't peaked yet. There's still a lot of time on the season, and hopefully we're peak when the time is right. So next we're gonna go to, if we can see if the Dolphins can shake it off.
I just want to say this, and I'll leave it to sort of Taylor, and we'll discuss it here, and then Demario Davis will be on in a bit. I just want to say about the Dolphins, I'm not giving up on this team. I am a believer in Tua. I'm a believer in Mike McDaniel, the energy, the new leadership, the culture change. I'm a believer in what they're doing. I have faith. The facts are, though, what they are. That's not a but, it's just true. And there was forewarning about they're 0-3 against teams with winning records. You can only lose on this control. I don't want to hear it. Kind of like what I just talked about with the Cowboys. A little tough love from Miss Adams this morning. They're going to have to go out there and win a big game.
Like old times, a pass to Tyreek Hill leads to a Chiefs touchdown, where the Dolphins exposed in the process. Ooh. Tyreek's prophecy was proven correct. So if we may please drop Tyreek's banner. Yeah, I'll tell you what it says. Tyreek gave the Chiefs that word. You're trying I appreciate it, Wilds. There it is. Good job, Kevin Wilds. Tyreek did, in fact, give the Chiefs that word.
Miami is just, I'm done with Miami. I'm not picking them to beat a team that's good until I see it. I'm done with that. They're just beating up on the poor in the NFL.
I see a defense that leads the league in quarterback hits that now has Xavier Howard and Jalen Ramsey on the back end. That dude Van Ginkel's all over the lot. Chubb is all over the lot. Wilkins is all over the lot. Phillips is all over the lot. They've got serious players on defense.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what Dolphin fans want us to do, because all I know is when they play somebody that's on their level,
right,
they're over and they average 39. I mean, 17. But when they play someone that they can run over, they're averaging 39 points.
Miami 0-3 against teams, winning teams. Listen, I don't like that one bit, but I'm not going to go as far as saying they're pretenders. And here's the reason why. When your offense is that explosive, you can have off days, and this is the deal. They got annihilated by Buffalo. They got annihilated. Okay, they went down 21-0, came back, lost 21-14. Against the Philadelphia Eagles, Tyreek Hill doesn't drop. Tyreek Hill dropping a touchdown pass, a surefire touchdown pass. I mean, that's an aberration. So when I look at it from that perspective, and then I combine that with the fact that you went into a playoff game in Buffalo in inclement weather last year with Skylar Thompson as your quarterback and lost 34-31. I know a loss is a loss. Please don't get me wrong. I'm not looking for any moral victory. But when I say pretender, that means I am not worried about you in the slightest of really disrupting the apple cart and really knocking off some of the elite teams.
Is it time to question the Dolphins' legitimacy?
Oh, I know it's tough, Joanne. It's just tough for me, A-Block.
It's Groundhog Day. Yeah, it is. I mean, I got to do my job, right? I got to do my job. You beat bad teams, really, really bad, just
smack them around.
And then you lose pretty convincingly
to
the good teams. It's almost like you're getting garbage time points or something. Now, I don't want to go that far because these are NFL teams that you're playing and beating and putting up the 70 points. That's only ever happened one other time. Fine. But go beat the big teams. And what's frustrating about it is we've seen Tua do it. We've seen Tua beat great teams. We've seen him have comeback performances. So you're capable of it. You have the pieces. You have an MVP candidate in Tyreek Hill. You have the #1 offense in the league. So your defense actually played well. The defense, which we've been questioning throughout the whole season, has been showing up lately. So what is the issue?
Well, some of the criticism is more than valid. The Dolphins have not been able to, to pull the big win. So I want to start with our resident Swiftie, Steve. Can the Dolphins shake it off?
Oh, God. I know my wife is listening right now, and I'm sure she just got a kick out of that one. So, hi, Sherry. I'll give another shout out to her, and I don't know what the hell his name is on General Hospital, but Stephen A. Smith, and the guy Waffles. Yes, he's an actor on General Hospital. I don't get it. But in any case, he waffles.
No.
I don't know. That's enough. But he flip-flops so much. And again, it's sensationalism across every single one of those people. They can say one thing one day, they can Colin Cowherd the next, and nobody's ever going to hold them to task because they've got millions of people out there that follow them and listen to them on a daily, and they're multimillionaires for a reason. But I know, and I'm sticking to the clips here, I know where I was when I was driving Monday morning and I was listening to PFT Live on Sirius XM radio, and I know exactly where I was when Chris Sims said that he was done with the Dolphins and he's not going to pick them anymore, because that's when I flipped the dial and I said, I'm not listening to that anymore today. I was right by Tampa Airport on my way. Oh, whatever. Chris Sims, seriously, dude. Just pull up one of your clips of you getting totally berated by John Gruden because you couldn't call one of his play calls. But again, we have yet to see one of these teams, the elite teams, and I might be bringing on some bad juju to the team here. I don't know. We have yet to see one of these top teams on our own turf in Hard Rock Stadium. What's it like when those top teams come to Miami? We've had opportunities to go into Buffalo, into Philly, into Frankfurt / Kansas City and play on the road. But the more we talk, you guys are backing me off. You've backed me off the ledge. My wife has been telling me since Sunday. She's like, it's really not that bad. We only gave up 14 offensive points, and she's right. You guys are helping me realize that it's time to move on. We have Devon Achane coming back. We have other players that are going to be coming back. We have some players that are a little bit banged up. Knock on wood. This is the healthiest I can remember us being 8 games, 9 games, 10 games into the season. So with a very, very, very advantageous bye-week placement this year. So I'm ready for us to go out, play the Raiders, see what they're going to bring, when they come into town, and then see where we're going to land over the next few weeks leading into a very tough end of our schedule.
So I'm going to go to you, Matt. We've seen the Dolphins had some late season collapses in the last decade, to be honest. I expect this team to be different, but I want to know your opinion about that.
Yeah, for the record, November 7th, 2023, at about 8:40 p.m., Steve Hallett admitted that he watches General Hospital. I don't know what that's about, but I appreciate you sharing that with us.
I don't watch it.
Anyway.
Whatever.
So anyways, the was the question again?
Stop feeding into him.
Sorry.
You encourage him.
Oh my gosh. Oh,
Wow, that
Lord.
got me.
I'm gonna have to cut that out from the feature video.
Oh.
I'm sorry. Please go ahead, man.
Listen, I am right on the verge of having one of those hysterical laughing fits. Anyways, so the Dolphins have had a history, and I can go all the way back to the beginning of the Patriots dynasty. I can remember, and you guys, I know you remember the snowball game. Dolphins backed up in their own end zone, and somehow, some way, I don't even want to continue the story because you guys know what I'm talking about. And it was really the beginning of the Patriots dynasty. And then we've got this drought through the last, pretty much for the last 15, 17 years. And, you know, in the advent of social media, especially on Twitter, there's this thing called In the Hunt. And the Dolphins have been in the hunt for so long. And it's so annoying not because the In the Hunt is annoying. It's just, can you just run 12-4 one time in our existence? I remember those days. I know you can do it. So yeah, there is a history of it, and it's disappointing. Sunday was highly disappointing. I understand that I might be the silver lining. The cup is always half full on this team, but it's certainly disappointing. We got to shake it off. Steve alluded to the fact that it's the healthiest that we've been coming into this part of the season. You got Ashan coming back. He was raising hell for the first 4 games of the season. And let's not forget that has been kind of plucked out of the equation there. So there's a major facet of the offense that's been removed. Is it 21-14 on Sunday if Achan's playing? I don't know. Probably not. So shake it off. Absolutely. Shake it off. Get to the break here. Heal up more like we talked about in pre-production, and let's go. Let's go Raiders.
I probably that this show is based on the power. I always say the power of positivity. We don't like to put anybody down or the players down, but to be honest, it was so frustrating every time Asian touched the ball and he sounded like a stone. I like why was not Wilson playing? Because if Asian was playing, he would not go down like that. It was really, really frustrating every single time. I don't know, Jared. I don't know why he's still. I still don't get why Wilson is not higher under that shirt. I digress. I'm gonna go to you, Eddie. Why are you so kind of Dolphins shake it off?
I think they'll do a good job of putting it in the rearview mirror. It's not like it was, like it was before. Before the wheels would have been coming off.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I feel. We would have lost to one of them bad teams that everybody keeps saying that's all we're beating. Like
the same teams that other teams had not been able to beat. So
like
because
every
Buffalo could
other,
not beat the Patriots,
yes,
and the Chiefs could not beat the Denver, and the Eagles could not beat who was it?
the Jets, I think.
The Jets. So
yeah, who cannot get out of their own way, which was proved last night when they played one of the worst defenses
that
in
was
the NFL,
horrible.
the Chargers. That was the worst football game I think I tried to watch ever. It was terrible.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I have a good feeling going forward. I really thought they were going to beat the Chiefs until Sunday morning before kickoff. I don't know what happened. Then everything just switched. I think we all talked about that
we talked
before.
About it.
I was like, everything changed as soon as it was like 9:00, and I was like, I'm nervous now. But anyways, it's different this year. They're going to get players back. It really hurts that Wynn is, from what McDaniel said today, Isaiah Wynn is not more than likely not coming back. That is going to hurt him. I wish Lamb. I wish they would maybe try him at guard because Hunt will be back. He'll be fine. That really hurt not having him in. But going forward, he'll be back, and I'm sure Waddle really needed this week of rest because he's been banged up on different spots. First drive injuries all year long for us. I felt so bad for Robert Jones coming back. You could see how upset he was. He
He
wasn't
wanted to
playing
play.
bad. He was playing pretty well, but then we had Cotton and Eichenberg in there, and that's kind of started falling apart. But they'll get healthy. They're going to be fine moving forward. I I think they can hold off the Bills to win this division this year.
Yeah, the Bills defense is really missing Mike McDaniel. So you can see this; they're not the same defense at all. But still very frustrating game.
Yes.
Very frustrating season so far because as again the first series of the game, a key player goes down. It was Armstrong the first time, win the second one, then Water. Here we goes again. The wheels are coming off again. Here we go, and then we start going behind and like okay, same game. But for some reason, it didn't feel like the same game. The Dolphins were never in the okay. We're gonna win this game, but you can feel that no, something is not right. Something's gonna happen. And if the Dolphins had more time, they probably could have won the game. That fumble was key. That was basically a 14 or 10 point swing. But the sky is not. We like to say over here, the sky is not falling.
Right.
The Dolphins probably if they pick too early, it's bad. If they pick, they never pick is awful. But I think Armstead said something about that kind today that this team has not picked yet. And if they truly believe it, that's huge. Matt, I'm sorry, Steve. Any last thoughts on Doctor Steve Hallett?
I don't think they've peaked yet, which is a positive. I remember last year, and I had to look it up just to be sure. I call it like my own personal. I think we all feel it, this battered Dolphin syndrome of seasons past where we've started really, really well. You know, they said the last time the Dolphins started 7-2 was 2000, and I look back, I'm like, what the hell happened that year? You know, we were 8-3 last year, 8-3. And then went on a slide that started in San Fran of 5 games, and then we limped our way into the playoffs with defensive backfield that they're probably bagging groceries or something right now. I don't think we've peaked early. I don't take anything for granted. I really need to start enjoying what we're experiencing a lot more on Sundays, regardless of tight losses like that. But definitely the things are looking up, and looking forward to hopefully the team getting healthy, coming back, and really staying healthy, because we really need it going into the hard stretch we have coming up.
Absolutely. So next we're gonna do some FINS TV overreaction. Actually, can Mike McDaniel can't win the big one. We will see so many coaches that being accused of never cannot be the big one until they do. George Seifert, Tony Dungy, even Hall of Fame coaches that. Don Shula for once. They were said they could not be the big one. Mike McDaniel, I'm gonna keep saying it. I love the guy, great man. I'm very happy he's our coach, but I keep having some reservations about him. I cannot understand why we have penalties and club management issues just after a timeout. That's coaching. There's no other way to say it. Of course, the players had to execute. That's true. But if you're coming off the timeout, you cannot have a false start or illegal whatever. It can't happen. That's management. That's coaching. Either like then it has to simplify the offense when we're on the road, or something needs to be done. So I'm gonna start with you, Steve. Ken, our reaction. I'm gonna say first. It's not a reaction. Mike McDaniel is able to beat the big one, but he needs to beat adjusted. But I will start with you, Steve.
He can win the big one. I don't know, define big one. You know, we beat the Chargers week 1 on the road. It turned into a shootout last year. We were down how many points against the Ravens, and I consider that to be a big one when Tua came back 6 touchdowns into a game, and one of the most electrifying outcomes that I can remember probably since the Miami Miracle, and then probably the Camarillo catch against God to keep us from going winless. But I do think that McDaniel gets in his own head way too much when it comes down to big games, and I don't understand it. I don't. You hit the nail on the head. Clock management. My wife and I were sitting on the edge of the couch screaming at the TV as they're in the huddle with 12 seconds, 11 seconds, 10 seconds. They clap their hands and then they get up to the offensive line and they get themselves shifted. Claypool's going the wrong way, so they point to him the other way. He goes over there. Before you know it, there's 4 seconds left. Tua doesn't even have a chance to evaluate what the defense is doing, flip his hand like this so Tyreek can get out of his little crouch and shoot out really quickly and get the ball off as quickly as possible. I don't know, and I think part of it is it happens at home too. So you can't say it's everything, but when they're in a hostile environment where the crowd noise is bad, Tua's not hearing it quickly enough. He's not able to communicate in the huddle enough. He gets up there. He's got to be on a silent count. I don't know. The NFL can probably, I'm sure Steve Ross can, foot the bill for everybody on the team and the offense to get some little Beats headphones or something like that to put in their helmets and blare screaming into their ears so they can learn how to do this stuff in a hostile environment. I don't know. But I think in a game of Titans, the small details matter. Mike McDaniel can coach a team to win big games, not a single big game, but big games. And I think he's going to have those opportunities and he is going to execute on them. But it's not, the NFL isn't the place for on-the-job training. He needs to hopefully pick up on things, stop getting away from the run game. We talked about it many times earlier this season, before the season even started, the 60-40 run-pass ratio thing. And when Achane was in there, he was actually running 50-50. Maybe it seemed like a little bit more. He's moved away from that. And I think that that's just his tendency to go to the pass and rely on it. When end of the game, Mostert breaks off 2 big ones because the Chiefs are expecting him to pass. They were expecting him to pass there on 3rd down. Why not bust one out there? But in any case, I digress.
And Mustard run, those plays are said to be run because Mustard went to the coach and said, we need to run behind Turner Armstead to the side. They cannot stop it. And it worked. But definitely, Mike McDaniel sometimes even too smart for himself. So I'm going to go to you, Matt. Overreaction, Mike McDaniel can't win the big one.
There's so much overreaction that's happening right now amongst us, amongst fans, amongst the media. And I find it a bit ironic. Shannon Sharp said in that clip you showed in the last segment, he literally said when they're playing teams that they're even with, wait, did you just admit that the Dolphins are even with the Chiefs, with the Eagles, with the Bills? Okay, because you can't flip-flop on your narrative. You got to stick to what your narrative, pick a lane and stay in it. Are people overreacting? Absolutely. Mike McDaniel, he's won 6 games this year out of 9. I'll take those numbers. Today is November 7th. I think we still have 2 months to go in this season. Today is November 7th. Let's have this same question on December 7th, the 1st of December. Let's have the same conversation on something to allude to it. I am not going to say it because of my superstitious nature, but we were 8-3 last year, and then the wheels came off. We all know why the wheels came off. That not been an issue. This team is getting healthy at the right time. Are people overreacting? Yeah. And take a look at the ledge that we're on, guys. Step back. Take a deep breath. It's not that bad. I've said this. It seems like I've said this after every loss. What place are they in? First. Where are the Bills? Not in first. Overreaction? Yeah.
That can be the weak one. Overreaction.
Oh, major overreaction, especially from you, Sammy. Especially from you.
He's going to edit that out.
Yes, you will.
Yeah, it's an overreaction. Like I said, like McDaniel said to Barry Jackson, who I finally saw McDaniel get mad at him. He said, well, why didn't you run for the 3rd time? And McDaniel said, "What if we lost 3 yards?" And then you'd be asking me, "Well, we just ran the ball twice. Why didn't you go to a pass instead?" They would have been expecting the run again for the third straight time. Yeah, I think it's an overreaction for people to think he can't win the big game. I mean, we have not played a big game at home. Steve alluded to that earlier. Let's see what happens at home. False starts, I do not put on coaching. False starts are on players. Completely on mental breakdowns of a player who knows when to go. And between that and lining up offside sometimes on defense, that drives me nuts. I'll take a holding call over a pre-snap penalty any time of the day, especially if you're trying to save your quarterback from getting killed. Grab the guy, grab him by the face mask. I don't care. But pre-snaps, they kill drives, but that's not on coaching. You can only coach a guy up so much, and you got to put it on him. And that's just my point on McDaniel. I think he's fine. It's his second year. The players should know this offense by now. They have to be blaring music in the bubble or whatever they're doing. It's just things happen sometimes. And these other teams, look at the Bills. They did not look very good at the Bengals. Josh Allen looked like an average quarterback the other night. He really did to me. God, was it Collinsworth calling that game? Because my God, I thought he was going to go down to the locker room and hug him even after the loss. It was disgusting. But no, McDaniel's fine. He's going to win the big games, and he's going to win them this year. And then, Sam, I'm going to call you on that later this year.
Oh, I want you to be right.
I know you want me to.
I wish he would have won the Green Bay game and and the Buffalo game and the 49ers game. And
well,
and
the Green Bay game, I don't even think Green Bay Tua
I
remembers the second half.
I was in that game, and after Tua got hit, I said, "Uh-oh, he got hit. He got a concussion." No one said he got a concussion, but afterwards.
And then San Francisco won how many games after they got McCaffrey in a row?
I want to check that stat because last year, every single team that played the 49ers lost the week after. That's why I'm crossing my fingers on that Ravens game. So hopefully that works this year. So next, Matt had to leave us. He had the previous engagement. Tua, our reaction, Tua proves his theory is wrong. His theory is right. I'm sorry. Tua proves his theory is right. I'm talking about overreaction, way overreaction about this on Twitter, on everywhere about Tua. Some pundits even say he was scared. That reason that why he fumbled that last snap because he was scared. That's the stupidest thing I've seen stupid things this season. That's probably the worst. Tua, that's a whole reaction. That's the same guy that the week before was a leading candidate for MVP. So if you're gonna hate on Tua, you're gonna hate no matter what. You're gonna look for the first thing that he doesn't do the way you want him to do, and you're gonna say that he sucks. So I'm gonna go to YouTube. Steve, our reaction to Tua proof his greatest right.
I don't think he proved his critics right at all. I think at times he hasn't proved his critics wrong, because when you get into those hostile on the road environments and against the top teams, you have to be able to put up better numbers. But we know that the rubric or the grading scale that they're going to put these quarterbacks again isn't the same. If Tua, since his entrance into the league, led the league in interceptions or turnovers the way that Josh Allen has, would he be getting the same treatment? Would he be on the cover of Madden this year? No. But I mean, I think that, again, these types of games, people like to shift way too much focus away from the fact that he is the leading quarterback in the NFL in many, many statistics. They like to very quickly say, ignore all that and just focus on a bad snap. A couple really, really, really ugly throws. He was off his game. I don't know if
Yeah,
when he's on the road, if I know the NFL has a sponsorship with Sleep Number beds, and all the NFL players get him. Maybe he misses his bed. Maybe he has a favorite breakfast that his wife cooks for him, or maybe he has a favorite ride on his way to the office at Hard Rock Stadium on Sundays or something like that. Something about being on the road. He just doesn't always play the same way on the road. But I don't think that he proved his critics right. Not at all. He's still Tua in he's shown resilience to not go out and make the same mistakes. He's got a coach who clearly, as Rich Eisen and Dan Orlovsky and everybody were gushing, a coach that absolutely truly believes in him, and they're not going to take this game and just say, it didn't matter. They're going to come back better in 2 weeks, much better than they were in Frankfurt. So no.
absolutely. So I want to do the overreaction to prove his critics right.
I've never seen bias against a quarterback like there is against Tua. I do not know what it is. I do not get the hate for him. If you put his stats against anybody else's, they're right up there with anybody. Now, like I was complaining about Collinsworth and loving Josh Allen the other night, I just didn't get it. His stats are way better than Josh Allen's. He's got more yardage. He has one more touchdown. He has less interceptions. Yeah, Allen's completing a higher percentage, but he's not throwing the deep ball anymore. He's getting the ball out because he's not doing very well on a deep pass. But he went the Mahomes. Did they complain about the way he played against Miami? Because he didn't play that good after the first drive. There's something against Tua, and I wish I could figure it out. I don't know what it is. He'll be fine. Steve's right. I rewatched that play where they said Cedric Wilson might have ran the wrong route. That ball came out of his hand like, I don't know. There was something like grease was on the football because it looked like it slid out of his hand. He didn't plant like he does and throw it, because if he does, that game is tied. He throws it. Wilson's catching it. By the way, Wilson has really impressed me the last 3 weeks. He has caught everything.
Yeah.
So, but you can see somebody, I don't know if you guys saw it, showing between last year and this year his passes to Hill, where he was throwing behind Hill all the big plays last year. Now Hill's having to catch up to the ball. It's awesome. He's making strides. He's a very good quarterback, and he gets hate. It's an overreaction that he's proving his critics right. Who are these critics? They're washed up has-beens that never won anything.
The worst critics are people inside our own fan base. If you go to
Oh
some
yeah,
of
that's for sure.
that is amazing. Okay, they can't wait to bash the guy. He's your
Yeah.
quarterback. If you can
My-
succeed, you're not gonna find anyone better, no matter what.
My
There's no way you can go outside this year and find someone better.
My dad has a theory on Dolphin fans. Some of the big critic ones. It's that they're not really Dolphin fans. They're still New York fans or up north fans. That's what his, and they just watch Miami all the time because they're down here now. But that's his. We're from New York, but we are full on Dolphin fans. So
I have a similar kind of theory since we're talking about that. There's been a whole generation that doesn't know what the winning Dolphins football is. They just don't. They
Yeah.
haven't seen Dolphins winning football in a whole generation. Kids at 17, 18, they might be fans of any other team because they have won. Even Patriots fans. That's the reality. The other thing I want to go into what you said, Patrick Mahomes complained so much during that game. He was whining and complaining every single play, looking for a call. It was pathetic. You're the best player in the world. Get the F out of here.
So bad.
Everything.
That
So
was
bad.
such a bad look. You're the best player in the world, and you keep complaining every single play. That's absurd. That was pathetic.
That wasn't even close to a late hit out of bounds.
No,
If that
of course not.
if that defender gives himself up right there, he goes forward and gets another 10
Yeah.
yards, and the defender looks like an idiot.
And they praise Mahomes for tightrope walking down and getting
Yes.
them more yards. We've seen it a million times, And Dan Orlovsky could not stop talking about how it was such a late hit. They brought Gene Steratore, or whoever the hell the NFL Network's person on there to talk about it. His foot hadn't even touched the out of bounds yet.
Right.
I'm glad they plowed through him. I hope more people start doing that to quarterbacks where they're able to time it right. And every now and then get a 15-yard penalty flag for doing it good, because if you don't, they will tightrope walk and they'll get that extra yards and they'll get the praise.
Exactly. In the same
Amen.
game, Tua slid. They hit him while he was down. Tua didn't complain, but they didn't. Nobody said a word about that. He was down. He gave himself up. The guy piled right on top of him. Nothing. He didn't complain.
Since we're talking about that, there was a play where Tua was backwards to the play. Someone pushed a Chiefs player and it fell on his back, and he said to the ref, "Was it that a late hit?" And the ref just laughing in his face. What the hell was that?
Yes.
What the hell was that? That was so many things we can complain. We're still left again, so we're gonna move on. That's the never-ending story. Is the next question? The next overreaction. You never heard the story. The Dolphins are frauds. Overreaction. The Dolphins are frauds. Here we go again with the Dolphins are frauds. Same thing every single time. That's simply absurd. The Dolphins are not frauds, but what are we gonna do? I'm gonna go first to Steve. Are the Dolphins frauds? Right, overreaction.
This is the biggest overreaction, and I'm not going to have it. We held the defending Super Bowl champs to 14 offensive points. 14 offensive points in a hostile environment. Saw somebody else put out there just one of those cute little things saying we gave up, I don't know, how many did we lose by Buffalo? 28, and then 14 to the Eagles, and now 7 to the Chiefs. So next time, what are we going to tie or something against one of these elite teams? We are not frauds. And anybody, it's just the overreaction. It's the sensationalism, negative sells, negative Dolphins fan base we just talked about. Some of the biggest critics of our team are the people who go very, very quiet when we dominate a game. They're the first ones to say, "Well, it was an easy team." Those are our own fans.
Yes.
But and we're one again. Said it earlier. One fumble and pick up, scoop, whatever, return for 6 away from it being 14-0 at half, and we come out and we tie it. Who knows what happens? Maybe if he doesn't fumble that, they go down the field, score before halftime, get the ball back, and then we just proceed on. We just don't know what happens. But the defense is legit. Eddie, you said it earlier. Chubb, he has emerged. He's starting to play an amazing game, and I'm here for it. We're a 6-3 team. We're leading the AFC East, one of the toughest divisions. Really, there's no slouches here other than Patriots. So we're not frauds, not at all.
How about you, Eddie? Our reaction to the Dolphins are frauds.
They are far from frauds. I said this a month ago. I'll say it again. If they're frauds, everybody's frauds. Everybody's now on the Ravens bandwagon. Who did the Ravens lose to? They lost to Pittsburgh, how they're 5-3, I'll never know. And then they lost to the Colts. So, they're not frauds. The Bills have lost 4 games. Miami has lost 3. The only thing Bills fans and the media wants to talk about is the Bills beat the Dolphins. Well, here's your "We beat the Dolphin" banner. Go hang it, because that's the only banner you're ever going to have. I'm just so sick of this stuff. It's ridiculous. No, they're not frauds. If there's not a team out there that's playing that good. The Eagles, yeah, you can bring the Eagles and their band of merry refs with them because they screwed Dallas the other day, and that's hard to believe because Dallas usually gets all the calls. But that was some more bad refereeing in that game. And boy, look at that. The Eagles had another tough game at home. I know they have to play them on the road, but no, not frauds. Everybody's a fraud if the Dolphins are a fraud.
It's a huge overreaction, as I said before. If you look back, the Chiefs lost to the Broncos, and you know what happened when they played the Dolphins. The Bills, they got spanked by the Patriots. So everybody loses. So that's a huge overreaction. But we're gonna go quickly to the next topic before we go to the finish. Does it make season look back? We finally if that's it. It's maybe we just me, but this season feels very, 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 very long. Let me do some fixing here. And here we go. This season feels very, very, very long, eternal, if you ask me. It was some big moments. Of course, that Buffalo game is still, it's unforgettable. The wheels came off after that one. The Eagles, the referees. I would have loved to have a copy of that. Of the league's review of the referees during that game. I still wonder what happened to that group. That's interesting. And last Sunday's game, the Dolphins will, as I said before, we might look forever. What could have happened if Tua catches that ball and he had Waddle open in the middle? What could have happened? But I'm gonna go to Steve first. This is a big season. What are your thoughts about the Dolphins through the first half of the season?
Good teams, bad teams, it doesn't matter. How many teams that have played the Broncos or played the Panthers or played any of the teams the Dolphins have played have had the luxury of putting their backup quarterback in for the entire fourth quarter? Mm-hmm. How many backup quarterbacks have played this season, not because they were being blown out or because they were going in for an injured quarterback? How many other teams in this league have had the luxury of 2 times putting their backup quarterback in because they were comfortable enough to just say, "Hey, we're good. Tua, good job. Take a break." How many? 1. I don't know. I haven't watched all the games. How many? I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong here. Call me on it. But in any case, Sammy, you asked in like our first or second episode ever before Matt and Eddie came along and spiced up our show, that the question, Ramsey had just gotten hurt preseason, but is Fangio going to be enough to turn us into a top 5 defense? Mm-hmm. And I said at the time I wasn't too sure about top 5, top 10. Well, we're currently sitting in top 12 position right now. Total yardage. Look at it that way. 12. What's the big difference? And I said this early on. I've said it a few more times since. It's turnover differential. We're currently sitting at -4. And I do think that we're going to see an increase in the number of turnovers, the sacks, the interceptions. I think that we'll start to see those start to come along more. Just depends on what teams we play and how poor the quarterback is playing. But I'm very, very encouraged. And again, it's because we're in the lead in the AFC East. Our opponents have been exposed. We've emerged, aside from a couple really hard hits to our offensive guards, we've emerged extremely healthy at this point, halfway point in the season, over halfway now officially, going into a bye. And it's been fun. I don't know if you're saying it's been a long season. This is the fastest time of the year, Sammy. This year, the football season, the second Labor Day hits, and football season kicks off. Oh man, football season absolutely flies for me. Before I know it, tomorrow is going to be Wednesday, then Thursday night football, and I'm just like, good God, it's Friday already. Long days, very fast weeks, but I'm really hoping that we close out this season extremely strong. 12, 13 wins. It'd be fantastic to get 13, but I'd be very, very happy with 12, and have a home playoff game at Hard Rock Stadium.
Yeah, my prediction was 12 games. That the over under was 10.5, and we were debating if the Dolphins could get 10.5 before the season started. Now expectations have changed so much. That says a lot about the season. But Eddie, what about you? What are your thoughts on the first half of the season?
I think it's been a productive first half of the season. They've had some injuries. They're not, knock on wood, not serious injuries. They're going to get some guys back. Achane is huge coming back. But they fought with the Chiefs till the end. The other 2 games, the Philadelphia game was pretty close. Buffalo, they got blown out, but everybody's going to have a game like that. They've beaten the teams you need to beat, and they've beat them by a lot. Not a lot of teams can say that, and that's what I really like. And this team looks like they really like each other, which they seem to all get along. They love McDaniel. I know you don't, Sammy, but I'll talk to you about that
I love
later.
the guy, man.
No, you don't. No, you don't. But anyway,
next week I'm going to wear my Mike McDaniel
back.
T-shirt just to show you up.
I'm gonna send you my autographed picture of Flores that I threw under my bed, so you can hang that up behind you on the show. But anyways,
Remember, I was the only one who was saying, but Ryan Fox was getting fired, and you told me, no, that's not going to happen. I was right.
yeah, I know. But no, I'm very happy where they are, and we can only hope they go. If they get 6 more wins in the second half, that'll be amazing. They'll be winning their division, and I want that home playoff game.
So,
And the playoff win, because I'm tired of hearing about that too.
Next week we'll probably, since we're coming off the bye, this episode we're going to look a little bit back, and next week we'll probably look a little bit forward. But defensive line before the injuries was the biggest surprise for me during the season. I said it before in one of the first episodes. I had a cautious expectation that they're going to pan out. They've been huge, but the injuries are starting to catch up to them. So that always been the biggest surprise for you. Then you guys have I want to start with Steve. Do you have any big surprise? What is the biggest surprise of the first half of the season for you?
My biggest surprise, the fact that I was dumb enough to think that the Chicago Bears were going to win the NFC North. I
had the Packers,
embarrassed.
So.
I have it marked down. I know you got the Packers. I've got receipts here. Eddie, you were right. Right now you're right. The Lions. You were good, man. But to make it even worse, I don't ever take my advice preseason on what's going to happen, because I had the Giants in the playoffs. Brian Daboll is going to be lucky to have an address in the state of New York by the end of the season if he makes it that long.
Even with
but
healthy, that schedule
I had the Bears. I had the Bears in the second seed. No, the best highlight of it, I'd say it's that Tyreek is actually on pace for his 2,000-yard prediction, and Devon Achane. I'm looking forward to seeing him back. I really am. And on the defensive side of the ball, it's undeniable the emergence of how they're doing things. They just got to stop playing that Maverick game and spotting these teams. Come out, enforce your will on some good teams, and put them up against the wire. Make them feel the pressure that they have to start pushing the envelope. That'd be nice.
Yeah. How about you, Eddie? Your biggest surprise of the first half of the season?
How quickly they turned their defense. How scared I think we all were for the first couple of games, and how it's really turned the past few weeks. And with Ramsey, it's even better, because if you look at them stats between him and Howard, I believe it's under 20 yards against the Chiefs for pass yardage between both of them guys. I think one of them gave up 12 and the other one gave up 8 yards and 12 yards. Yeah. What it was, that is amazing. Kohu they said he had a bad game, but he still played well. But Chubb
had big plays, so
yeah. How many yards did Mahomes throw for, Eddie?
170.
Screw you in your bad game on any of our defensive backs. Nope.
I say Howard. I think had the biggest.
That's what I'm saying. They Kohu had a bad game. I'm like, what are they talking about? He knocked the ball away on what could have been a touchdown. But so it's definitely the defense. I'm glad we're running the ball more. And one more thought on our soft, easy teams we beat. How much longer before the Chargers are above 500, and then we can say we went to San Diego, or not? Oh my God, I said San Diego. We went to Los Angeles and we beat the Chargers, because they're starting to play a lot better, and they're a 500 team now. So
they'll just move the cheese for us. They'll move the goalposts.
Yeah, they will. That was before they were good.
What about you, Sammy? What do you got for a first half surprise? What's good?
Like, again, the offensive line. Even if it has some expectations for me, they exceeded my expectations for sure. The offensive line for sure had the biggest expectation. On the run side of the surprise, I'm kind of disappointed at the middle of the defensive line. I had more expectations for Sealer and Wilkins. They got pushed around during a huge part of the game last Sunday. I'm not saying that they cannot move forward and go ahead and be better the rest of the season. But if on the bad side of the surprise, the middle of the defensive lines for me it's been disappointing. And huge surprise. I expected so much more from Wilkinson Cedar. So it happens. So next we're gonna go to the big finish and the top 5 power rankings. Well, for me, the streak is over. I have the Dolphins finally out of my top 5 power rankings for the week. It was a good run. I'm not saying they're not going to be able to make it back. They would have been probably near the top had they won that game. But since the Chiefs won and they beat the Dolphins, the Chiefs are number 1 for me. Number 2, the Philadelphia Eagles. Baltimore Ravens are number 3. Jacksonville Jaguars are number 4. And the Cincinnati Bengals were surging at number 5. How about you, Steve?
We got the same teams in there, I think. We're just kind of boggled around some. So I've got Eagles sitting at number 1, Chiefs at number 2. They go out and they lose another game, and we're going to really see what they're made of, I think. Ravens, I'd say if there's any game on my schedule other than that last one of the season against the Bills at home, I think that one on the road against the Ravens is my biggest concern, because if Lamar Jackson stays healthy, they're a very, very, very good team right now, and I could see them moving up to the top of the AFC. Bengals, they start very, very slowly. I don't know what the hell Zach Taylor's doing. If he could figure out how to stop starting every season 0-3, that they'd be up there too. But Bengals at number 4, Jaguars hanging in there at number 5 for me.
How about you, Eddie? What are the top 5 power rankings?
The Jaguars are at number 20 for me. They're overhyped. They're overranked. They are garbage. But anyway, I'm going Chiefs because I think the Chiefs might have the best defense in the NFL. I really do. I said it last week. I said they hadn't given up more than 21 points besides that Bronco game. But they're number 1. The Eagles are number 2. I'm a big believer in the Bengals right now. They half got better. That's a whole different team, Joe Burrow. So I'm putting them 3rd. I guess the Ravens 4th because they are looking tough. And
at number 5, the Cleveland Browns.
They're in the playoffs right now. I cannot believe that, but I really
that
don't
defense
know.
is for real. If they only had a quarterback, right?
Yes, they should have traded for Tua, not the other guy. It's between, but it's all kidding aside about the Jaguars. It's between the Jaguars and the Lions, so make that a tie. That's what I would go with on that.
Absolutely. It's a roller coaster, so we'll see what happens. But next week, the whole thing changes. We're gonna be on the bye. It's gonna be one of those days where I have a commitment on Sunday, but one of those days you put the wrestling channel and you see everybody know.
Hey, great news! Sunday Night Football, though, we get to listen to them talk about the Jets versus the Raiders. So
the 3 primetime games are terrible this week.
Horrible.
Yep. Which one are they?
The Panthers and somebody tomorrow.
Yeah, the Bears and the Panthers on
Oh my
God!
Wow.
It's like Army Navy.
Is it the Jets and the Raiders?
Jets and the Raiders Sunday Night Football.
And then,
because Aaron Rodgers and Jimmy Garoppolo was primetime television anyway.
Yes.
Jesus.
Yes. And Devontae Adams, who's not even used anymore. And I think the other one is what? Maybe Broncos Bills?
Monday Night Bills got another one?
Yeah. Well, you check. Aaron Rodgers had to see that game on Monday and say, "I'm not coming back."
No, he does not need to come back. No, not that long. I don't care who you are back there.
No, it's that offensive line said, I'm good. I can rebound."
Broncos at the Bills.
Go Broncos.
Well, could you imagine what happens if the Giants should have beaten the Bills. The Buccaneers should have beaten the Bills. So anything can happen. So Sean Payton, you better win that game. So that'll be all for this edition of FINS TV. Don't forget to like and subscribe. we're very, very, very happy that our channel is thriving. 4 consecutive weeks of our featured video gets over 2,000 views. It's around 3,000 views by the end week. We're a very small channel. We're just getting started, but we're really proud that we can accomplish it. It's all because of you guys watching and the FINS TV crew, Eddie, Matt, and Steve. Thank you for all you do. Without you, this channel would not thrive. So thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I wanna plug before the week is done, our special edition episode with Armando Sanguero from February of the Mayor Herald joins TV this week. So that feature video is already edited. It's gonna come out Thursday and Friday.
Stay tuned.
I had a great conversation with Mando, and we know each other for a long, long time. And we shared some thoughts about the Dolphins, Mike McDaniel, Tua, the whole league. So it was very fun. So we'll be looking forward to that. So don't forget to like and subscribe. And as always, when you say Miami, remember that when you say Miami, you're talking Super Bowl. Peace up, guys.
Fins up.
Hands up.
Have a great week, guys.
You too.
Miami has the Dolphins, the greatest football team. We take the ball from goal to goal like no one's ever seen. We're in the air, we're on the ground, we're always in control. And when you say Miami, you're talking Super Bowl, 'cause we're the Miami Dolphins.